1. The beings of the four elements. Figure 1, Pyram. In the kingdom of the elements, Pyram is a powerful spirit of fire in the rank of a king or sovereign. A great number of fire spirits are subject to his power and are constantly at his disposal. He will reveal special methods to the magician who rules him, methods by which the magician may have striking successes with the help of the fire element. Pyram may also put spirits of the elements at the magician's disposal who, being in possession of the same powers as he himself, are able to bring about the same effects as he himself would do. From Pyram one can learn about everything that may be achieved magically by the pure element of fire. Also, in cases where influences through the fire element are involved, Pyram can bring about the desired effect. Every magician getting into personal contact with this fire spirit will be able to convince himself of his versatility. The sign of his seal must be drawn in red color on a piece of blotting paper at the time of his first evocation. One may also use a small iron plate instead of the blotting paper, and engrave the sign of seal on it. A talisman produced in this manner must, however, always have the shape of a pentagon. The latter statement goes for all signs of seals for beings of the fire principle. Figure 2, Uftif, is also a spirit of the fire having the same rank as Pyram. He therefore is able to bring about the same effects as Pyram. The only difference between the two lies in the fact that Uftif is not so active as Pyram and therefore is easier to control. He has a greater affection for human beings and can give the magician various magical information on the fire element, for instance, how, by help of the fire element and various effective rites, excellent effects can be obtained and the like. Uftif will initiate the magician, should he wish it, thoroughly into the magic of the fire 115 element, using special methods for this purpose. He is also quite willing to offer the magician the services of the beings subject to his authority, and confers the same powers that he himself possesses to them. The sign of his seal must also be drawn in red color for the first evocation. Figure 3, Oyudu, is a much dreaded spirit of high rank in the realm of fire. Employing his subjects, he causes outbreaks of volcanoes either directly or indirectly, and he instigates all matters that are connected with fierce and great fires. The latter may not only be caused by him, but can also be controlled and stilled by him. The magician with Oyudu under his control and as his friend can achieve great things with the help of the fire element. Oyudu, too, like the other two spirits of the fire, may provide the magician with subordinated fire spirits, and many a magician has been able to achieve many magical arts with the help of the fire element and assisted by the beings Oyudu placed at his disposal. The sign of Oyudu's seal has to be drawn in yellow color for his first evocation. Figure 4, Itumo, sign to be drawn in yellow color, is also a male being of the fire, who likes to be, and to move about, near the surface of our earth and who has a special capability of causing heavy thunderstorms, preferably cloudburst, by means of his subjects. Controlled by a magician, he instructs him how to cause various types of thunderstorms with his servants and how to stop them. Everything that may happen in a thunderstorm is effected by Itumo. By his assistance and by the help of his servants I have often successfully influenced thunderstorms. Figure 5, Koroman, sign to be drawn in red color, has the rank of a potential head with legions of beings fulfilling various tasks in the fire element. Koroman controls the fire element in the three kingdoms, the kingdoms of men, animals and plants, and may have effects through them. He can offer reliable subjects who are able to help the magician by the force of the fire element in any respect, regardless whether he operates ritually with the subordinated spirits or whether he has his influence work by the magic of sympathy. Koroman can introduce the magician to a great number of practices, especially the curing of sick people who may be treated with the fire element. Figure 6, Afith, sign to be drawn in red color, is, like the above-mentioned being, also a friend of men. He is able to assist the magician in a number of alchemical operations and to protect him by his element, i.e., the element of fire. He, too, makes the magician succeed in various magical operations with the fire element and teaches him to recognize the various states in alchemical operations and to know and control the individual procedures. Afith, 2, puts at the magician's disposal good subordinated beings who can help him in many ways to work successfully with the element of fire. Figure 7, Ahriman, sign to be drawn in blue color, is a powerful fire spirit who, 2, can help the magician with many magical practices for which the use of the fire element is essential. His fundamental qualities of pyrotechnics enable him to make the magician acquainted with the art of pyrotechnics, which may later also be practiced, ritually by the magician himself or by Ahriman's subordinate beings now put at his disposal. Ahriman and his subordinates like to control the work done in gorges and like to be about places where manual or mechanical work is done by the help of fire. The magician receives the most interesting information from Ahriman and his subordinated beings on everything that has to do with pyrotechnics. Figure 8, Amtophule, sign to be drawn in blue color, is by no means lower in rank and power than the beings of the fire element already mentioned. This fire spirit shows the magician how he can be effective in the kingdom of the fire element. He instructs him how to assert his magical authority so that he has complete control over any being of the fire element. Amtophule therefore is an excellent initiator into the so-called magic of the fire. The magician is taught by him how to defend himself against the element of the fire in order to become unassailable by fire, that is, invulnerable up to a certain degree. The magician is then afterwards able to take burning coals into his hands without suffering any harm. But also many other magic arts which can be realized by the fire element are freely revealed to the magician by Amtophule. Nevertheless, Amtophule is, even if completely controlled, rather a dangerous fire spirit. Many such fire spirits of the same rank with whom I formerly had communication could be mentioned here. However, the above 8 examples will be sufficient for the magician. Next are 8 beings of the water element. Figure 9, a Masol, red color to be used for the first evocation, is commissioned to cause storms on the sea either by himself or by his subjects or to calm them depending on what divine providence has ordered him to do. A Masol informs the magician how to get under his control, from the magical as well as the quabalistic point of view, the magnetic power of the water. He places at the magician's disposal also excellent subordinated beings who help to realize his wishes by the watery element. Figure 10, Ardifn, color of sign also red, is a good initiator and teaches the magician how he should, by force of the water element, work his influence by ritual magic on man and animal in the right manner. If the influenced object gets somehow into contact with the water element, for instance by rain, washing, drinking of beverages etc., then Ardifn or his servants will help to speed up the influence and, in consequence, to realize the magician's desires. Figure 11, Izarfil, color of sign, silvery white, is a very beautiful ruler in the kingdom of the water element. To describe her beauty by words would give much difficulty even to a talented poet. Izarfil has many servants known as water fairies or nymphs. Izarfil knows many magic secrets in relation with operations with the element of water and can give the magician much information and reveal to him many practices. However, a magician has to be very careful with Izarfil, just the same as he has to take heed in respect to the following sovereign mistress called Amu, that he does not lose his head when working with them. Both are experts in binding men by their beauty and taking possession of them. If the genuine magician wants it, Izarfil will be pleased to place the beings subordinated to her at his disposal. Figure 12, Amu, color of sign also silvery white. This female ruler also possesses a great number of watery beings subordinated to her. If the magician intends to keep up a connection with Amu, he will be instructed by her how to get fish and other water animals under his power. So, if the magician busies himself, in this material world, with fishing or rearing fish or the like, he will get from Amu useful advice and instructions which will enable him to control completely everything that swims or creeps in the water. Also Amu will place at his magician's disposal subordinate beings who will contribute to the realization of his wishes. Figure 13, Aposto, color of sign, red, is again a male being in the kingdom of the water element and rules over all brooks and rivers, small and large. He informs the magician about what is at the bottom of brooks and rivers and at which place under water he can find jewels and semi-jewels. Aposto is completely acquainted with the magic of the water principle. If the magician asks for subordinates, Aposto will be pleased to let him have them. Such subordinates have often saved people, swimming or doing other water sports, from drowning. Besides this, the magician may learn from these beings where to find the bodies of drowned people. Figure 14, Ermot, color of sign also red, has almost the same qualities as Aposto. Figure 13. Ermot introduces the magician into the magic of the water element and furthermore teaches him how to manufacture from this element magic vaults for certain purposes. Ermot will gladly place his servants at the magician's disposal. His fundamental qualities are to make human beings love each other by help of the water elements. With women Ermot is, in this respect, especially influential. Figure 15, Osipe, color of sign, blue, is a most beautiful female water being and not only a complete ruler over this element, but also of the magic of the water. She likes very much to introduce the magician into the rhythm of the water element by the magic of sounds. She is an excellent singer and dancer, as are also her subordinate beings experts in these arts, and they perform the nicest dances and accompany them with lovely songs. If the magician resists the tempting invitations of this female ruler and gets her under his power, she will place at his disposal several beings subordinate to her. I know from my own experience that she likes to serve quite by herself the magician who rules her. Figure 16, Istafule, sign of color also blue, is mentioned here as the last example of a water being. She, too, has a female shape. Apart from being able to make the magician better acquainted with the magic of water, she can, if he so wishes, make him see pictures of the past, present or future on the surface of waters or other liquids. She is mistress in the task of bringing about various transformations which can be caused by the element of the water. Amongst other things, she teaches the magician, should he wish it, how he can cause love in friends or enemies, either by magical practice alone or by the assistance of her beings. Many a magician has already been ruined by Istafule when she succeeded in binding him by her great art in erotic love and by her beauty. By getting into touch with Istafule, magicians usually lost their interests in any further, more essential connections. Therefore every magician should always remember that he should rule and never succumb to any being, no matter of whatever rank or from whatever sphere. The above described beings are, of course, not the only ones in the water element, and the magician may, if he likes, get into touch with further beings of equal rank. Here are now a few beings of the fourth element, the element of the earth. Figure 17, Mentefil, color of sign for the first evocation must be black, is a mighty king of gnomes in the kingdom under the earth. He is equipped with many powers and qualities. This ruler can inform the magician about all medicinal herbs and make him acquainted with the preparation and effect of herbs and medicines against all types of diseases from which man or animal may suffer. Apart from this, Mentefil is a master in alchemical work and reveals to the magician how the prima materia can be transformed into the philosopher's stone, i.e., how the lapis philosophorum is won. He has a great number of gnomes as subjects who help him with his work and doings in the kingdom of the earth. The magician who has control over this spirit of the earth has also a good friend and may learn much from this powerful ruler of the element of the earth and enrich his knowledge with many a secret. Figure 18, Ordefi, color of his sign, black, is also a mighty king of gnomes. He influences greatly all metals that are to be found under the surface of the earth. If the magician so wishes, Ordefi will lead him through his kingdom and show him all treasures that are under the earth in the form of ore. He, too, has a great number of gnomes subordinated to him who do the work designated to them under the surface of the earth. Some of them guard the ores, others work on their refinement and maintenance. Ordefi likes to place gnomes at the disposal of the magician, which will at any time assist him in his operations with the earthly element. However, the magician must be careful not to request anything coarsely materialistic from him, and he must never use these spirit servants for avaricious purposes. He would, in that case, always be in danger of having immense difficulties in getting out of the range and power of this king of gnomes. Figure 19, Ova, color of sign also black, is the next mighty ruler in the kingdom of gnomes. Apart from the usual range of powers appertaining to a spirit of the earth, Ova has been specially ordered to guard all stones and precious stones to be found in the earth. He is able to change pebbles into precious stones, and he can teach the magician how to load stones with the element of the earth or by any other methods for special purposes. The occult meaning of all precious stones is well known to Ova, and the magician can find out about this especially for producing talismans, lucky stones, etc. Should the magician request it, this powerful ruler over gnomes can place at his disposal many subjects of his kingdom. But the magician must take heed not to succumb to the brilliant appearance of Ova. He should not mind being taught certain things by beings like this, but he should never ask for anything material of them, for they like to see magicians take presents in order to make them dependent. Figure 20, Ladura, color of sign also black, is another powerful ruler over gnomes who is commissioned with crystallization in the earth principle. His biggest range of power lies under the earth, where there are crystal products like salts, for instance. From Ijura the magician will find out where to look for stone salt or other compounds, and will be taught by this king of gnomes how salts in general develop, is informed about their chemical and hermetic analogies, and will learn, at the same time, the occult use of various kinds of salt for magical purposes by the element of the earth. Ijura knows many secret methods, such as how various salts are derived from plants and minerals, and is quite willing to inform the magician about this. He also introduces him to their practical use for medical, alchemical purposes, etc. A magician may learn a great deal of things from Ijura that mere book learning could never give him. Figure 21, Musa, color of sign, brown, is also one of the powerful kings of gnomes and specialist in the magic of the earth. He informs the magician about the electromagnetic drifts inside the earth, how to control them practically and how to make use of them. Furthermore, Musa will introduce the magician to the magic of nature, which he is able to practice by the plus and the minus of the earth, i.e., by the electric and magnetic fluids. He also learns from this king of gnomes how these two radiations, which by chemical disintegration influence the life on and under the earth, originate from the hermetic point of view. In the kingdom of the element of the earth, Musa is one of the most respected beings. He may be called a genuine magician of the earth. Figure 22, Nikas, color at the sign, brown, also one of the rulers of gnomes, will explain to the magician the hermetic procedure of vegetation and its occult meaning. From Nikas the magician can find out how trees, vegetables and all other plants are being nourished by the drifts and powers under the earth. He will be informed by him how to accelerate and control the life of vegetation by the magic of the elements. Figure 23, Irami, color of sign, black, is regarded as a powerful gnome magician. If requested, he will teach the magician who controls him all about the magic of sympathy and make him acquainted with the preparation of the earth mirror and the various fluid condensers. Besides this, he will initiate him into the practical application of the earth element. The magician will also learn from Irami how to protect himself against various dangers by the help of the earth element. Irami may reveal a great number of secrets regarding the magic of the kingdom of the elements, and he will be pleased to let his servants work for the magician. Figure 24, Andimo, color of sign, black like Irami, has an affection for human beings. He is well informed about everything that takes place in caves, grottos, subterranean waters, coal mines, etc. His special commission is to give shelter and assistance to all those people that are under the earth and have to work there. He is a great friend of all miners. A magician who is in his favor will always be protected by Andimo, no matter wherever under the earth he may be. Since he is well acquainted with alchemy, he may also assist, theoretically and practically, the magician in this respect. My own experience makes me point out to every magician that Andemo may easily tempt him to project physically, either directly by himself or by the help of one of his subjects, a burning stone, the so-called living sulfur. If, in such a case, the magician, during the projection of the stone, takes the stone into his hand, he will get badly burned by it. Andemo likes to place such stones before the magician's feet or before the magic circle. You must leave this stone untouched and order Andemo to take it away again. If the magician touches the burning sulfur transmuted by Andemo from the principle of the earth, i.e. prepared by methods of alchemy, with the sign of Andemo's seal, which he earlier drew on a second piece of parchment and had magically prepared, the parchment with the sign of the seal will catch fire and the sulfur stone at once turn into the true alchemical projection powder of a red color, the so-called red lion. This powder then is quite safe and may be gathered up with a glass spoon and stored away in a well-shut-up glass. This kind of projection powder usually has a projection capacity of 10.000 and is the philosopher's stone in its purest form. However, the magician may then be tempted to use this powder for making gold or prolonging his own life. If the magician is misled by such temptations, he would conclude, by such alchemical operations, a formal pact with the said being. The magician is therefore warned in advance not to do such a rashness and never to practice alchemy in such a manner. Not even in case he assumes that he is mature and experienced enough in everything that has to do with the science of magic, for he might, nevertheless, be misled to take an ill-considered step. When dealing personally with Andemo, I had the opportunity of convincing myself of these facts, but I ordered Andemo to take the powder back to his own kingdom. At that moment it disappeared at once, with a hissing sound. As far as the beings of the airy element are concerned, also 8 names of heads, together with the signs of their seals, will be given here. They are, Figure 25, Parahim, Figure 26, Apilki Figure 27, Urkia, Figure 28, Dalep, Figure 29, Kapizi, Figure 30, Drisofi, Figure 31, Glazai Figure 32, Kargast. However, I desist from giving any closer description of these intelligences for the simple reason that beings of the air are, apart from being very shy, not at all pleased with men. It takes much effort to force them down, and only a genuine magician will succeed in getting them entirely under his control. The things that the airy beings taught me were later also communicated by any head of the zone girdling the earth. The reader will be given more information on this zone and its beings in the second chapter of the hierarchy. Each magician is able to find the evidence for these statements by his own practical experience. The 8 beings of the earth element mentioned above may be enough for the magician, for he is able to gather individual experience by his own practical work. However, I must point out again to every magician that he must not be the first to start the conversation with a being that is being evoked for the first time. Furthermore, it must be mentioned here that every being appears in a different way. I have desisted from describing each being's color, height, shape and way of speaking, for it would be of little value to the practicing magician. It could even happen that due to a full description the magician, at the moment of evocation, could be deluded by his power of imagination, and, in consequence, would create an elemental instead of evoking the actual being. Such an elemental would then take on the shape of the being. In order to prevent this, no details have been given here about the outer appearance of any being. The genuinely prepared magician will never be misled by hallucinations and will not create phantoms or anything of that sort. If he has done the necessary magical preparations well, he will always get the true being under his control and will see it, hear it, and feel it.